Shalom, friends. It's Rabbi Jenny Solomon here at Beth Meyer Synagogue with a Mincha moment. So we are beginning a new book of the Torah this week. We are in the week of Bimidbar. Bimidbar is this new book, which in English is known as Numbers, but in Hebrew, Bimidbar means in the wilderness or in a wilderness. And perhaps most significantly, we learn that God speaks to the people and we receive Torah, we receive wisdom and revelation and truth in the wilderness. So we know the time, the Torah tells us, the time when the Israelites heard God's voice in the wilderness. The opening of this week's Torah portion says in the first of the month, of the second month, in the second year after leaving Egypt. But we don't actually know the place. And this is, of course, I would argue, very significant. Because the truth is that the wilderness is not a place, at least not a place in physical space anyway. The wilderness is a spiritual state. It is a place of openness, a place of not knowing, a place of curiosity, of struggle, of surrender. And it is precisely in that place, in those places in our lives where we feel lost and uncertain and even scared, disoriented, in process, that the Torah teaches us that we can hear God's voice best, that we can receive God's teaching, God's guidance, God's wisdom. So I am facing a very serious and disorienting challenge in my own personal life. Those who know me best know that when I see a crisis or a challenge, does not take me that long to come up with a strategic plan and to get around that in lots of different ways. But I'm facing a particular challenge that does not have an easy solution. I have actually basically no idea. What I know or what I trust are a couple of things. The first is that God is Hamechin Mitzadei Gaver, that God helps prepare our steps. And so I am faithful that I will know the next step to take. Not the next 10 steps, but just the next step. The second thing is that no matter how difficult this experience is, I'm committed to keeping my eyes open. Because every morning we also say a blessing that God is Pokech Ivrim. God is the one who opens the eyes of the blind. And this is not a literal attribution, but rather a figurative one. For me, for all of us who have no idea and are completely dependent as we look into what's ahead, we can't see. I can't see. I trust that God will help me continue to keep my eyes open so that I can learn as I go. And finally, I am committed to breathing through this wilderness. When we meet life's greatest challenges, we know this from how our slaves felt, our ancestors who were slaves in the land of Egypt. They experienced what the Torah describes as kotzer ruach, constricted breath. It's so natural in those most difficult moments to hold our breath. And instead, part of being free, part of going free again and again is committed to utilizing the breath, And so too, every morning I say, Elohai Neshama, Shenatata bi Tahorahi, this breath that you've placed within me, God, it's pure. And as I breathe, each nishima is an opportunity to access my neshama, my soul. And I trust that between God preparing my next step, only one at a time anyway, helping me open my eyes to learn even what right now feels totally unknowable, and by resourcing myself with my breath, that we'll make it to the promised land. Shalom, peace.